Should I buy first or should I sell first? How should I plan my property move? This is one of the most common questions that many of the buyer and seller out there has now. Okay, thank you for tuning into my channel. This is Joe again. Today I'm going to share with you a cheat code on how do we actually plan for this buying and selling concurrently. So first of all, I think you need to equip yourself to understand the basic knowledge of how is the buying process of buying of either a resale HDB or buying of a resale private property. So if you do not understand this fundamental, you can actually refer to my YouTube channel. Inside, I think I have video of the HDB buying process and the private buying process. So do understand that. So one very simple cheat code is what we need to understand. How do we plan for a sell and buy concurrently is basically to understand, first of all, number one thing is when do we get the money? Okay, when do we get the money after selling? Okay, and the second important rules is when do we need the money? So it's basically as simple as this, meaning to say once you know when you get your money and when you need the money, you can plan for this back-to-back deal easily. Okay, so in general, okay, we talk about the end product because in between, okay, it's a long process from the day you let's say you're selling a flat, from the day you start to market, find a buyer, enter into OTP until completion, you get your money, and then from the purchase, when do you actually start paying all the money? Okay, so to put in a very simple cheat code is in between the two process, there must be a gap of 3 weeks. Okay, why I say a minimum gap of 3 weeks? Reason is largely because after selling, okay, after selling, CPF goes back to the OA. Okay, after going back to the OA, you need to withdraw the money out to complete the purchase. You need some time. So this process from going in to coming out in terms of the CPF money is approximate 3 weeks gap, minimally 3 week gaps. Okay, if you are talking about the cash proceed, basically on the selling day, be it you are selling a HDB or private, you will get your cashier order if it is a positive sales. So regardless of what time is your completion, okay, you should get your cash credited into your bank account latest by the 3rd day, if not on the 2nd day. So basically the cash isn't a concern. So usually it's basically a 3 weeks gap for the CPF to come in so that you can plan the two deals back to back smoothly. So having said this, of course, this is just a very general concept of how a buy sell can be done. However, the thing is, when we talk about on the market right now, okay, what is on the market is basically many of the seller out there, what are they asking? They are asking for example, if it's a HDB, what are they asking for? They are asking for very long submission period. Like for example, they want a 30 days, 45 days, 60 days long submission period because they need time to find a house. And especially in such a market, I think where the supply is still considered relatively low, it is challenging for them to find a house. I can tell you, even with these 2 months of grace period being granted to them, it might not be easy for them to find a house. So today, if you're a seller, you ask for these 2 months, I'm not sure whether you can find a house or not. And there's many elements that actually need to be taken into consideration. I mean, of course, the seller will also ask for extension because after they complete, right, given the fact that the 2 transactions will need a 3 weeks gap, after that they still need to renovate, shifting of house, etc. So I mean, if you're talking about a HDB, the maximum extension is 3 months. If you're talking about a private property, then that one can be discussed mutually between the buyer and seller. So what happens on the market right now? Okay, many of the sellers asking for long submission period and 3 month extension, and even in the private market, okay, resale, a lot of them are asking me for so-called long period in terms of exercise, or after selling they wanted to rent back from the buyer or what, etc. So it is actually quite challenging, truthfully, in today's market for a seller, for a customer. Let's say they come to me, they say they want to sell their property and they don't want to shift twice. Okay, I think it's a very fair thing that they don't want to shift twice, especially let's say a larger household with children, with so much things. Okay, to shift twice is really I would say it's a pain in the ass, because I've been through this. I know it's not easy, but I mean in such market where the supply is lower, there's no choice. Okay, so sometimes to a certain extent you have to determine whether you are able to buy first. Okay, of course, to buy first means you need to have the money first. Okay, if you're talking about the HDB, it's generally more straightforward. Okay, to buy a HDB first means basically you need to have the down payment, plus you can take the loan, you can afford to buy first. But let's say if it's for a private property, it's actually much more trickier if you want to buy a private, because as long as you have a property that isn't disposed of yet, be it your existing property is a HDB or private, as long as you haven't disposed it. When I say dispose means the unit must be granted OTP and exercise OTP, then consider dispose. Then if you are to buy a private first of all, you'll be incurred with, first thing first, additional buyer's stamp duty, ABSD of 17%. Okay, 17%, if we talk about a 1 million contact property, is 170 grand. That we haven't factored in the normal stamp duty of approximate 4%. 4% that give you approximate 24,000 plus. So 170 plus 24 is approximate 190 plus AD. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is, if your first property that is an outstanding loan, you can only take a loan of up to 45%. Okay, 45%, if we are talking about a 1 million property, once again, it means you can only borrow up to 450k, which means you need a down payment 550k. Okay, so 550k, if you add in 190k, how much is it? It's 700 and I think 40? Yeah, I think around there, 700 plus thousand. So I'm not so sure how many people have 700 plus thousand ready to buy a property first. Okay, I would say not a lot, truthfully not a lot. I would say there is, but some people, even they won't do it this manner. Okay, it's just that, but of course, we talk about the general, not many people have this amount, 700 plus thousand to do that. So that's why in today's context, I think if you want to do a buy sell, okay, it is not as easy as a usual market. So let's say, for example, if you think just by tuning in to watch some of the online editorial, some of the YouTube channel out there that people share, you can do it. It's not as easy. So I will strongly recommend that you speak to an agent. If you have an agent, speak to them, understand the entire process, how to actually go through it, rather than actually trying to figure it out yourself. Of course, if you have no agent, feel free to approach me. Okay, I have successfully assisted many clients to do this back-to-back deal. However, I can say, I mean, there is many factors that is actually involved in this entire process, and it's not as easy as what it seems. Okay, because there is a lot of factors to actually match. Because after you sell, okay, so recently I also came, a client approached me, and she actually tell me that she went to view a few units. Okay, she went to view a few units, then she haven't sold her property, and she actually wanted to buy that unit first and request for the seller to grace her a period to sell. So the thing is, if you ask the seller to grace you a period, how long you want to grace this period? So, and at the same time, it could also add up to a lot of stress for you, because it means you need to sell this property within a very short time frame. And let's say halfway through, if anything is to jeopardize, then it can be quite stressful. So that's why there is a lot of planning involved. Like some people see feng shui, then they scared, they sell property already, they cannot file property. I think it's a very fair and normal so-called situation that many people are in. I think it's totally normal. So do not worry, you are not alone, especially in a market where the supply is low. But nevertheless, I think all these things can be done if we plan it properly. I think we try to minimize the risk of that. Because if, even for HDB today, I see many sellers out there tell me after 3 month extension want to extend further. Okay, that is totally not legal. So be very careful about that. And I think with that, I think it has come to the end of today's sharing. Okay, if anything you do not understand, feel free to approach me or private message me. Okay, I will see you in the next topic. Thank you very much. Bye bye.